What are the tools you have to have for effective, engaging, differentiated math instruction in the primary classroom? Hey there, teachers. Marion Busfield here with Engaging Curiosity, and today I am here to discuss 25 tools that supported student success and created student engagement in my math classroom. Links for the resources I discuss are included in the comments below, and I want to start by expressing my passionate belief in the importance of play-based learning. It is appropriate at every age as far as I'm concerned, but it is essential at the primary level. Fortunately, differentiation incorporates play-based learning, and the two have a large overlap. Personally speaking, math is a favorite subject to teach, in part because of all the fun things I could plan for the students to do. But this was entirely unexpected. I failed grade 12 math twice. I know that I was bored to tears and I just zoned out entirely. Had there been group work, at least there would have been an element of accountability for me. I also know that I love to learn by doing, and diverse instructional strategies would have undoubtedly engaged me more. I know that grade 12 is not the primary level, but again, I believe in it at every age. I was surprised to discover my love of math when I was asked to teach grade 8 and 9 math. Believe me when I say that I had to teach myself every single thing that I taught the students. I confess that I did not differentiate well at that time. I tried, but I was overwhelmed, and there were a few roadblocks. Meanwhile, I have learned along the way. Today I am sharing some of my favorite ways of differentiating math. One of the big questions is to group or not to group, so let's start there. Other than my brief foray into middle school and some time in grades 3, 4, 5, and 6 when I was in learning support, my focus was grades 1 and 2 math. I taught a multi-grade classroom. For most of the classroom years, I taught combined grades, and about half the years I taught the whole class, and the other half of the years that I was teaching combined grades, the students were often in their small groups. There were still times when I was teaching whole group that we broke up into small groups, and there were definitely times during the small group years that I taught the whole class. However, essentially, the whole group instruction I was planning one lesson, and for the small group years, I was planning 3 lessons. In my experience, whole class instruction is fun, and I certainly found it more dynamic. However, I do find that even with all of the ways that I differentiated, there was someone being pushed too hard or being held back too long. Small group instruction is better for teaching students more precisely at their level. However, there were still kiddos who were struggling to keep up. And oftentimes it took me an hour to prep just that one subject, and it was only 1 hour because I had everything organized to slip in and out of binders, and I had been doing it for years. However, when I learned about differentiation of numbers, that helped a lot. This type of differentiation is super simple for tailoring instruction to students' needs. If you change the size of the number, you are changing the challenge for the students. This option is really about applying the areas of offering choice and varying content. As adults that add 2-digit numbers, we understand that 53 and 46 is not really that much more than adding 23 and 16. But to timid students, the latter numbers are far less intimidating. Additionally, for stronger students, you may want to add numbers such as 44 and 37, and suddenly they're thrust into the world of independent problem solving as they figure out for themselves how to regroup. The next step is 55 and 48, and now they have crossed over into numbers bigger than 100. This is a big deal in this age group. If you are using dice, just remember, 6-sided dice limit the difficulty far more than 10, or an 18-sided dice will do. Or for more advanced students, they can roll the 6-sided dice twice for each number in their equation, once to determine the tens column and then again to determine the ones column. Differentiation in math problems also need to be addressed. Let's talk about a few different ideas for differentiating the word problems. As a former learning support teacher, the first step I take to differentiate word problems in math is to make them accessible to everyone. What have I done to ensure the struggling reader who loves math is able to read the problem? We want to keep students engaged and not let them become disenchanted by a problem with reading. So one, an option is for me to read the problem aloud to the whole class, but this doesn't really allow everyone to work at their own pace. Two is for a small group to work together, so the reading is done by together, although the work is done independently. They don't have to be working on the same problem to help each other. They can just nudge each other when they need help reading a problem. Three, partner work, where students' different strengths offer support to each other. Four, my least favorite option, because it can be cumbersome in the primary classroom, is if you have a text-to-speech option on your technology. So then another option is, can you offer students choices to ways to demonstrate their understanding? So maybe using an equation and showing their work. Could they create drawings that reflect the topic of the word problem? i.e. if the word problem is about baking cookies, their drawings would be about cookies, and demonstrate their understanding of the math skill. What about building their answer with their favorite tool and then providing a word or number sentence to connect what they have built with the problem? So pulling out a rec and rec, doing the work, drawing the picture from the rec and rec, and writing the answer. Personally, I love John Vandewall's Big 5 assessment. It is very open-ended and provides choice for students. And it helps make connections. Number 3, write equations on the boards or show pictures and have students create word problems, pictures, verbal or written, for each other to solve. Have the students whose turn it is to solve the problem sit with their backs to the board so they can't see the clues. There are so very many ways that you can differentiation with math questions or equations. Posing the same question in different ways and allowing the students to choose their question provides content differentiation through choice and complexity. Let's take a look at a doubles equation. 4 plus 4 equals 8. Primary students are often quite confused when both equations and word problems, if the unknown number is not in the sum or difference spot. I have shared links below to 2 videos that explain this further. Moving the unknown number to different spots, such as the missing first addend or second addend, or minuend or subtrahend, offers different complexity. I have included a link below to math resources, and I have created resources specifically with this challenge in mind. And the ones I think I've connected it to all the resources for strategies. For all the strategies. Each resource offers an unknown number in a different spot. They are further differentiated by having some resources with task cards using equations and other resources using task cards that have pictures of number bonds on them. And then there are also accompanying it differentiated worksheets at 3 different levels, some with equations, some with equation banks, and some with number bonds. All of these options come with or without a number line, and each offers a different way of differentiating with multiple choices for each student, even if they're working on the same activity. And you can also differentiate by having students work on different math strategies, such as counting on, making 10, add 10, etc. Okay, so that's a lot of options. There are opportunities for differentiation in mathematics using options for writing as well. Differentiated worksheets, like the ones I just mentioned above, are just one way to provide your students with options for demonstrating their understanding through writing a math class. I personally loved having my students work in their journals. You can, 1, differentiate the prompt complexity or challenge that they're writing in their journal. 2, have a series of prompts available, and during journal time, the students complete the next prompt in order. This differentiates by allowing everyone to work at their own pace. Number 3, offer a selection of ways to demonstrate understanding. For example, write an equation, write a word problem, draw a picture, explain their thinking, provide a fact family, etc. And have students choose 2 to 3 depending upon the skills you are working on at the time. 4, make journals one of the options on a choice board so they can choose to write in their journal or do something else. 5, offer open-ended prompts for students and see how students demonstrate their understanding. So differentiated instruction also includes using math tools, and there are affiliate links down below to all of these tools. I will get a small commission at no extra cost to you, but this will also help to support this channel. So if you purchase through the link, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so various tools for computation are helpful, and these are what I consider the essentials. There are so many more. Make your own Reckon Recs or Reckon Recs you can purchase. They're just beads on a stick like an abacus. An abacus itself, although I did not use the one that I've got a link to, I could not find the one that I got a link to, but they're great. 6-sided dice, 10-sided dice, 20-sided dice. The larger the number, the tougher the equation as explained above. Dice, inside dice are the same as using 2 6-sided dice, but kiddos love them. Supertizing 10-sided dice, these allow the students to practice supertizing and provide a little bit of extra challenge to students who need challenge but aren't ready for the 20-sided dice. Cuisenaire rods are a tool that are great for visual, kinesthetic, and tactile learners, as they can be used for multiple operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions. And if you don't know how to use them, please check out the Cuisenaire resource in Carol Fullerton's store. Magnetic tan frames are one of my favorite tools for using visuals to support student understanding of so many of the math concepts and strategies. I use them on the board all the time. Plastic pockets for games, worksheets, and everything that you want to reuse, and kids love them. Whiteboard markers for using either on whiteboards or plastic sleeve. Whiteboard erasers, I have used these, but truthfully, I just cut up washcloths for the students so that I could wash them, but you know, to each their own. Math links for counting, building, adding, subtracting, patterning, and ever so much more. Magnetiles for making 2 and 3D shapes. Versatile, students can practice and self-assess all the skills. These are also amazing at having students practice multi-step solutions and stretching short-term memory. The downside is buying enough for all the skills for all your students, but they're all. Tangrams are great for developing spatial relations, wooden attribute blocks, number line tape, but I did not tape this to the desks. I laminated each number line and punched a hole in one end and hung them on the whiteboard with hooks. We used handheld whiteboards. These particular boards come with markers that aren't great, but the boards are worth it. So, how to get started with differentiation in math at elementary? There are many, many ways to provide differentiation in math classrooms, and we are all working with different curriculums. Some of us are tied heavily to a curriculum provided by a school or district, and others wish they had more direction from their school or district. What I have provided here is obviously not a curriculum, but hopefully there are ideas here that you can take one day and one step at a time. No two groups of children are going to be the same, so every time you explore a new thing and take a new step of faith, you are expanding your tool belt for the next group. If you can't afford the tools or resources I have linked to here, find something similar that will do the same thing. Like I say, you can make the Reckon Recs, you can collect bottle caps for counting collections, there's all sorts of things. Visit local garage sales, talk to friends and neighbors, and ask parents for donations. Meanwhile, have fun in math. If you do, I know the students will. Students sense how we are feeling, so find a way to make it engaging for yourself. Engagement makes all the other ways you provide differentiation in math that much better for your students. And then, remember to pat yourself on the back for a job well done. Thank you for joining me as I shared various tools and strategies for differentiation in math and connected them to classroom implementation. Please leave a question about differentiation or share a tool that you use that enabled differentiation in your classroom in the comments below. Sharing is caring, and this is how you can help me to care for other teachers. Please, though, keep it kind and keep it clean. In the meantime, please hit that like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. This will help me to support as many teachers as I can. Thanks for joining me today.